My name is David Summers, Colorado Springs, Colorado. I'm a lighting designer and programmer. Also, wait, what's laser now? What do I say? There's a variance technician? Is that a thing? Is that a thing? I want to say variance tech.
I mean, I like to think that, the fact that you do lasers now doesn't change the fact that you're a lighting designer.
It doesn't, which is great. It's awesome. But anyway, I'm an LD from Colorado Springs. I work for a band called August Burns Red.
So how'd you get into lighting design?
I started off as a photographer, moved to tour management, and then there was a tour where the headliner got approached by their direct support to do production, and they kind of asked if I would take on both roles, and I didn't have a good reason to say no, and I like money, so I was like, let's give this a shot. Victor Zeiser, who owned Squeek Lights at the time, was a person I had met on tour in passing, and it was just something that I knew about lighting, because we were getting quotes from people, but I didn't know what I was looking at. I don't know what any of these things mean, And he was like, yeah, that's all trash. You got to get rid of that. I actually started a company. You guys should use us. And I was like, it seems to make sense. And I think that tour was his actual second rental, ever. That was kind of the very beginning.
You want to talk a little bit about what you like working with Victor and Squeek?
Yeah, of course. I just love even today, I've been an LD for 4 or 5 years now, and I still feel like on the technical aspect of things, I feel pretty stupid sometimes. I'm like, dude, I really don't know a lot of these things because I don't work at a venue at home. I never had that experience. I just started as a touring LD and have remained a touring LD, which is kind of weird. Not a lot of people have only done that. Usually there's something else somewhere. So on that side of things, I feel like I can come to him and talk to him almost like an idiot, and he just transforms it into what I want, into my ideas, into what we should be doing and stuff. And it's very effortless to come up with cool ideas and great designs that I feel like span the gamut of big budgets to small budgets, which is always what we wanted. Of if there was a smaller band that was cool and we liked and had an awesome vibe, there's no reason that they shouldn't have production, that they shouldn't be able to look like any other great show that you've seen, whether it's in an arena or in a bar. Should span the gamut, because live music's not a thing that's exactly growing in certain genres. Obviously there are some that I'm sure country music's not hurting at all, but there are some where it's it's not as much. So I feel like the level of adding an element of visuals, something to elevate the performance, is really important.
So what was your opinion or experience with lasers before we started working together?
Overall, kind of not impressed. Not in a bad way, just I thought they were pretty one-dimensional. I thought that a lot of the things that I had seen was a beam and then a different version of that beam kind of in this, really simple. It all kind of looked like it was cut from the same fabric. It didn't look like it was changing that much for me. And the coolest things that I thought I saw with lasers were an insane amount, which I knew was unobtainable. I knew that in the budgets I was working in this neighborhood, that we were never going to be able to afford 50 lasers. That's not a thing. So it's I don't really care. And then Childish Gambino did a performance on Saturday Night Live where he did This Is America, and there was a laser mounted above him, and when his solo part happens, these beams started to creep, crawl, and trace around him, and I'm literally just what is this? How do I have this?
Yeah.
And then I called Squeek immediately, and I was like, hey man, what's up? What do I do? What's this? He's like, too expensive. Absolutely not. They're lasers. It's movie magic. You'll never get them to look like that. Not gonna happen. Forget about it. And I was like, okay, for sure. But we are here, so he was wrong. Yeah.
That's an awesome thing, man. The training session that you and I did up at Squeek. Tell me a bit about that day from your perspective. How'd you go into it, and then how'd you come out of it? What was your
I was beyond nervous, because I thought, okay, first things first, when I learned how to do lighting, I was learning it from Victor, who has, I don't want to speak for him, but I think it's a theater background to a degree. So the things that he was telling me, very, I was so stressed out about oh my God, the voltage in the building, I'm going to kill everybody. And that's not what I should have been focusing on. Obviously things I need to know, important steps of the job, but it was the things that he was saying, and I'm like, did you say kill everybody? What? I feel like that's more important. You're just brushing it off, So anyway, and that's obviously not a thing. Like no one ever said that, but it's just little things that were stressing me out. So when I came into the laser training, I thought it was going to be like that. A lot of like small bits of information. It's like, if you ever do this, it's over, dude. Like, we're coming to find you. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm stressed out. But you were so calm, so easy. And like the fact that like, I know that I tour with fixtures all the time, and I know that fixtures break. They have moving parts that like when I take them on tour, I know that something's gonna go wrong, but like to see this like not intimidating little box that didn't take a lot of power, didn't have a lot of moving pieces, didn't feel like it, I'm not saying it couldn't break, but like within reason, feels pretty rock solid. I was like, dude, this is not what I was expecting. And then your element was just very like, yeah, dude, like you kind of can do whatever you want. And I feel like I spent 9 hours going, really? I can? Like anything? And I don't know, but I feel like we got to a point where we had to stop, but I didn't. Even now, I still feel like I haven't reached the limit or the end, you know? Like I really look forward to my next time with them. I hope that we end up bringing them to Europe just so I get more time to program, because I want to, you know?
Yeah, that was such an amazing day just because you guys got it.
Yeah.
Like having no background of lasers, and you and Lenny just got on the consoles and you got it.
Right, because this to me, this fixture did not, I mean, there were moments where I was like, what's a builder? 6 of them? You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of like, what are you talking about? But when it was laid out and I could see it and it like made sense to me, I was like, this is just a spot, like a beam fixture on drugs. Like this is just like something that is to a degree familiar, because it does operate to some level like a spot fixture, especially when you're only using one builder or one gobo. It's pretty similar. Obviously you can get more complicated if you want, but that to me was an awesome, like, it didn't feel like I was starting from scratch. Like it felt like I was already kind of using a lighting fixture, you know, which was helpful to me.
So there were 2 things that you said that day over and over, which will stay with me till like the day I die.
Hit me.
One of them was, I can't believe this is one fucking light.
Huge.
And the other was, and this I had to immediately call our lead program designer, engineer, and all that, and say, he says he's never felt this challenged by a light before.
Ever.
And that's huge for us.
Yeah, never, dude. And I tell when I go into like we're on tour right now. Whenever I go into a club in a house, and I have a house LD who's interested or competent, you know, I don't know. Sometimes I don't have that, but most of the time it's someone that's like, oh, dude, lasers. Who are they? Where are they from? What's good? Or they like automatically assume that it's kind of an older laser thing. Like they've seen something, but it's not really this, so it's like kind of new to them. So there's like a level of explanation that I go through, and I'm like, dude, I'm telling you that it doesn't feel like it has real limitations outside of like the refresh rate. Like obviously if you get too crazy, you're going to see that beam moving more than if you don't. But what's cool is you can do things like where you're taking half of your builders, 2 of your builders, sending them in different directions and different rotations, like doing different patterns, different colors. Like me and Steve started figuring out, Steve from Squeek Lights, we figured out that like if we put 2 colors into, you know, one builder, and then we go to like start making these crazy like animation color effects that I can even like take one color out and chase it back through. I was like, dude, this isn't something that most fixtures have. Like usually it's a spot fixture that has a prism, maybe 2, maybe it's got a spot mode, either CMY or color wheel. It's like, that's kind of it, you know, like I know what you do. I now get it. Whereas like the laser is still kind of something that like, I know what it does, but finding ways to like paint with it, like in like new ways, I don't know, like finding ways to like use the refresh rate. I've found challenging in every way, but also like rewarding, because like I feel like in like the set that I hope you guys, you know, get time to see tonight is this crazy thing that like the lights and the laser specifically keep up with the impact of a band that like is not a joke. Like they play so fast. Like there are so many labels on my program and they're like fast, faster, fastest, you know, like I don't know,
more
like,
fastest,
more and fastest. But yeah, I think the biggest thing when I was talking about that I couldn't believe it was one fixture was the 6 builder abilities and like what that really means. So like if I want to take, if I have 4 fixtures for, you know, Skyriders and I want to activate all the builders, it's kind of like 24 beams. Like I can't necessarily do crazy things if I have all 24 beams out, but it still looks insane to like activate 24 beams in the air that can now pan or tilt or go in a circle. And it's just like, I don't know, it really adds an effect to the show in a big way. I think that it's been awesome to see, because this band's 10-year anniversary tour, so people have been seeing them a long time. They've been doing production a long time. And we've gotten the nicest compliments and the best that we've ever had. They're just like, dude, you know, it's the best we've seen you. And I think that a huge part of it is because we have this fixture that not only is incredibly powerful, but dynamic enough to not become boring at any point. Like, there's no moment that you're like, oh, I don't know, it could turn off. No. Honestly, sometimes I get mad at myself. I'm like, why'd you take it out of the programming right here? Why don't you just do something different and leave it on? That's wrong. You did this wrong. That's why I'm like, I want to go back to Europe to get another shot, because like, that's the thing is, out of the gate, when I started programming for this tour, I had a week, but the first 3 days were spent in a space in Squeek's shop, which is, you know, 25 feet. So realistically, it's a row of, you know, 200 amps of power, and I'm 25 feet away from it. So understanding what I'm looking at, kind of impossible. It was kind of impossible to even know what the lasers were until the second show, because the first show was in like a very small, not whatever, but the second show was the Boston House of Blues, and from the stage to the back of that wall is so far, and they were just like, yeah, no problem. It looked good from the stage all the way to the ceiling, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, I've been in this room a bunch, but you always kind of feel like you don't have enough production in that room because it's massive. And that wasn't the case, you know, which was cool for me.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about lasers is that they reach, man.
Yes.
Like, they really get out there.
A huge effect in any larger, like, any venue. A perfect example, the Wiltern in Los Angeles. It was my first tour as an LD 5 years ago. I went through there, and I had not enough lights, and it was low-key embarrassing, and I felt like I didn't belong in that room. That was my favorite show of this tour. Because not only did I feel like we belonged, that was the one where Sarah Hess shot, and she was like, dude, this is my favorite one to date. And I'm like, that was like kind of a goal. I was like, dude, I know we're playing Wiltern again. That's the one time where I felt like I didn't belong in the room. Like, I should just go home. I was like, nah, you don't know what you're doing, dude. Go home. But felt great about this time, so that's all I can hope.
What makes lasers distinctive as fixtures to you? Like, what problem do you solve with them, typically?
Okay. When I, for instance, this current band, it's weird because I've used them for two bands now. There was a band from Philly called Balance and Composure who was on the vibier ends of things, and this band currently from Lancaster who's a metal band, obviously on the heavier ends of things. On the vibe aspect, I think that's what impressed me the most or surprised me the most. I always viewed lasers as an impact fixture, as something that had to carry the weight of a heavy part or a fast part, and I don't view that anymore. I honestly think more that this is a vibe fixture that can go to that level if you want it to. I don't think of it as just, like, that's the thing, when I first saw lasers, to me, it's just impact. It's just a crazy bright beam that's going, which is cool, but it's also kind of cool to make a giant triangle, but it's actually two colors and it's spinning opposite directions, and you're like, how's that happening? Like, what's that doing? And how is this possible? And then that's just one builder. Maybe I throw another one up and in, and I do another thing. It's just like, that to me provides this like crazy range of, because sometimes with vibe on like a spot fixture, like, you're kind of just cycling through gobos. Like, you kind of run out of options. You can put it in a new color and a new color scheme and even the same gobo, and it's a completely different effect. Do almost nothing to change it, like to change the actual look, but get a completely different effect, you know, visually. Also, with being with a metal band, the time in between cues on this is a joke. Doesn't exist. Most of my stuff is at 0 or right there. With having that, going from an insane laser look that fills the sky to like a punchy thing with no kind of like, it's instant. Like, there's no refresh, there's no like, oh, it's white for a second, you know, it doesn't.
When you tell a laser 0,
fixture.
it does it in 0.
It's 0. It is that instance, and there's just something about that to me that like is, I don't know, that precision in stuff like, you know, like either a vibe element or a heavy element is kind of unmatched as far as anything else that I've used. Like, because usually there's something, like if it's like, oh dude, it zooms, yeah, well, I don't care if you put it at 0, it's still going to take however long it takes to do that. Like, But this is not like that. The fixture's not bound by anything, you know?
So what kind of feedback have you gotten from the audience, the band, just people in general?
Right. I think that people are overall impressed. It's kind of hard to I'm not a guy that likes to toot any horn. I don't like doing that. I do feel proud of the show, and I think that the compliments we've received from the people that we've gotten them from speak volumes, because to get a compliment from a house LD is really nice, and it's not something to scoff at like a lot of people. Well, most LDs don't really stay in the room, you know? So for someone to even stay in the room, yet alone to say something nice, is very flattering to me. But to have a house audio guy come up and be like, yeah, man, insane. It's like, dude, you don't even have to be watching. You could be on your laptop and no one would be the wiser, no one would care, and most people are. But to have multiple on a tour, obviously it doesn't happen every night. We're not that good, but every once in a while, front of house guy saying good things, that feels good. As far as the fans go, there's been a lot of people who have, it's been big on this tour for me because I started off as a tour manager for Spin Balance Composure about, I don't know, a while ago now, 7-8 years, and there are people who know me from that era who are coming to these shows, and they're like, dude, we've seen you sell merch, we've seen you be a TM, we've seen you take pictures, and now you're with this band and you're elevating this show and you're killing it. And I'm like, dude, it's awesome. It's really nice to have that, but at the same time, I'm the guy that after the third show, I was like, I could redo all this. And I'm not trying to be hard on myself. It's just more I'm never satisfied. I'm not a guy that saves shows. After this night, I have obviously a bank of saved stuff from this tour, but I won't keep it. And it's not even because I'm trying to be wasteful. It's just because I don't want to make the same show again. If you've seen it, that's awesome. Me too. I want to move on. You know what I mean? I want to be at a point where it's I don't ever want to be satisfied, because I think that's complacency, that's laziness. When you came to the shop for the demo, that's why I think it was so easy, because you're talking to 4 or 5 guys that not only like what they do, we love what we do, and we're in an awesome environment where our bosses are kind of each other, kind of not, kind of our best friends, kind of not. It's I don't know, it's not that hard, man. What are you guys so angry or trying to not be creative about, you know? Why do you need to make the same show? That's boring to me.
What do you think the best way for us to reach other designers is?
I think that it just, okay, even on the demo day, there was an element of I am overwhelmed. And I don't mean in a bad way. I just mean in a way that I don't know exactly what I'm working with. I don't know exactly what it can do. And until you get in the setting and you can see again what your refresh rate is, because I didn't know how much that mattered at first. I'm not saying it matters in a way that my show was bad or anything. It was just there are some times where I'm oh, maybe I wouldn't have added that builder, because maybe 4 or 5 there is too many with how big the builder was. Maybe I needed to make it a baby square, you know, instead of a big oval. I needed, but that was the thing that I had to figure all that out to see everything that they could really do. And that's why it kind of evolved with me from Squeek Shop, where we did our thing. I started programming for this tour, into Rock Lidditz, which is in Lidditz, Pennsylvania. That's where we do our pre-pro stuff. So in that room, I have a big studio that I could see stuff, and then it was just changing things for me, because I would be in there by myself and I'd put the lasers right over, and I'd just be all right, okay, let's just change colors, let's change the X scale. But there was a bunch of stuff that I just didn't know until I played with. So I feel trying to find a way to showcase the limitlessness of them easily, and that sounds like an insane, lofty, I don't know, but I was unaware of all the capabilities, even on the training day. It's been an evolution of dude, this thing isn't just cool, it's smarter than me. It's legit has more intelligence to me, to a degree. I feel I obviously, I'm not an idiot, I can figure it out, but it is a very complex fixture that makes you think in a crazy way. And also, as a lighting designer, challenged me more than I ever have been, because I've now got a sea of lasers that I don't want to kill with the other stuff I have on stage. I don't want to, I've got to find how to paint these, I don't know, with more delicate strokes, and find ways to find the spots in between the lasers, or find the washes below the lasers or something, just trying to make it to where I was, you know, whenever they did come on, I was showcasing it in like a pretty effective way, I guess. But see, that's the thing. Like, honestly, when we first got the lasers, I was like kind of worried. I was like, dude, is this gonna be a big enough impact point? Because I was sitting so close to it. The training was close. Even the pre-pro was kind of close. Like, until I got into a big room, I didn't really even know what I was seeing. So again, even maybe trying to show somebody to show that scope of that, like, dude, these are kind of boundless. Like, if you've got enough width and enough height and enough haze, whatever you want. Pretty much whatever you want. As far as clubs go, literally whatever you want. Like, you can do it, anything.
And you guys aren't playing small venues.
No.
You're playing good sized venues.
It's been awesome, and it's been really nice because there's been a few times where, like, you know, we've been in a bigger room and there's been a bunch of sales, but like maybe we've closed like the top balcony and the bottom two are open, but like when the top one's closed, I'm not mad at all because it just means that the lasers are like, you know, 10 feet lower. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. This is what I want. Just get to open them up. So it's been really awesome for the photo aspect, as well as, like, I don't know, I feel like the audience has been crazy receptive. I feel like I can search the hashtag most nights and see someone make a comment about it. House of Blues, Orlando, I'm forgetting his name, but the LD there, he was like loading in, he's like, I've been reading about this tour for weeks. And I'm like, what? He's like, you got the laser, you got the whatever, like, I can't wait to see it. What do I set up? And I'm like, dude, let's go. But that's also cool that, like, when you walk in like an LD's, you know, they've seen it. Like, it's been on their feed, it's come across their other production guys, like, they're already aware that, like, of the show, which is nice, because there was a time where it was just like, I don't know, I felt very out of place. Like, again, my first tour as an LD was just me asking the house guy for help because I didn't know what I was doing. So now to go in and have the house guy be like, yeah, dude, I've been reading about your show. I'm like, that's nice. It's very nice.
Right, man.
Like, trying to, but just like, I think that the biggest reason why, you know, Squeeks has had success and we've had success is because, like, you just need someone to care. I don't know that I'm better than anybody. I don't think that's a real thing. I just give a shit that, like, this looks good and evokes something. I'm also someone with a pretty short attention span. So, like, I want to move with the music, however drastic that may be, you know? Like, I think it's supposed to, things are supposed to change if the music is changing. If things are calm and quiet and relaxed, we'll be that way. But if we're going to 11, I got you. I got you too. We'll do that too. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I love it, man. What has your experience been with the color of these lasers versus other fixtures?
Right. The white obviously has some blue in it. We talked about that. We also talked about blue being the cheapest color, so that makes total sense. That is my first comment. My second comment is the lime is unbelievable. Like, I don't even know if it necessarily is lime, but me and Steve labeled it lime. But, like, you know, the cusp of yellow and green cuts so well that it's, like, kind of crazy. And there are just other, like, saturations that are so rich. Like, dude, I never, and I mean this, never used purple before this tour. And I'm not trying to say anything against purple. I was just like, dude, I'd rather use, like, a berry kind of thing, more red, less blue, rather than going more blue. Because I just like, dude, it feels like it looks kind of like shit. Whereas, like, there are 2 or 3 parts where I make the lasers purple. I make my lighting scheme purple. Like, I've used, I'm trying to remember the song, but, like, I go completely, like, dark lav, purple, magenta, but it's like, you know, a full-on metal song. It still looks like insane, but it's on the way softer end of things. But I think a huge reason behind that is because the lasers carry, like, the big impact point in that song, the lasers are going in purple and they're going wild. And that was kind of the motivation for that song. But again, that's not a color that I normally use. I don't fuck with. The mint lasers are unbelievable. Like, that color is crazy. CTO is wild. I just think that the only thing really that I would change again is the white closer to a less blue saturation. But other than that, I don't have, like, a critique. And even that's me kind of fishing. Because there are also times where, like, I don't think that obviously it would decrease, but how punchy it is, I don't want to lose that either. Because that, when it is white now, it's crazy. It cuts so well. Like, it looks very, very good. So if it meant losing intensity, forget what I said about the blue.
No, that's awesome.
But that's also, like, I'm fishing. That's not like a...
No, dude,
they did it bad.
It's
like,
important to know.
No. That's not like that. That's just more of like a... When all my stuff was on... when all of my fixtures were on in white, because, like, I think most of my rig on this tour is Chauvet, so, like, their white is pretty on. And then I was like, oh, the lasers are in white. It's like, well, this isn't the same, but also I don't give a shit because I don't ever use all only white anyway, so it doesn't matter. Like, if the lasers are in an off blue and the rest of the colors are in yellow and white, no one even notices. It's not a thing. So it's not like a complaint as much as like I'll be excited when the technology catches up. You know what I mean?
How do you feel about the master zoning process for every venue you go to?
Great.
How does that fit into your workflow?
Effortless. Seconds. Takes no... Okay, here. Oh my God, perfect example. Tabernacle, Atlanta. We were just there. Had a really big turnout for a show. That's like a 2,500 cap room, very big. I want to say that there was like 1,1600. So what they ended up doing, and they didn't tell me this at the beginning because I always ask, is they had the bottom level open and the second level open. When I left and finished my focus, finished my, like I set my grid, I parked all my masters and I walked away, good to go. After that happened, they put a sheet up on the third row as like they were closing it. And I was like, if I can open them, I'm gonna open them. But I was like, well, the angle that the fixture is currently at, like I kind of have to like manually put them up to open it, you know what I mean? Because they were already kind of low on that second balcony. So me and our TM kind of eyeballed it, put them all up just like a hair, and then during changeover, I re-gridded the whole thing with him as my eyeball, and then I double-checked it on stage, and it was totally fine. Like during a show, like mid 15-minute changeover, re-gridded the whole fucking thing, and it was not an issue.
That's incredible.
I don't know if it's like that for everybody. And then there were days, and this was a little bit tricky at first. This was actually my first show. The show in Boston has, the House of Blues in Boston has two balconies that overhang the pit. And the problem with that is when we're going up, the lasers were going through the balcony. So I had to take the outer two and change their masters from the inner two. And that's something that I hadn't done before. Not that it was like complicated, but like that made it totally fine. Like the outer two were in more of like a tight square, whereas the two were more of like a longer rectangle. Still look cool, still filled the air, no one's in harm's way, no one's hurt, we're good. You know what I mean? Like the show's still great. And that was a part that I will say in training, I was nervous about that. I was very nervous. I was like, dude, I don't know what he said. I don't know how to do that. But truthfully, and I think a big part of the ease that I've found with it also is, I gotta give a lot of credit, Steve Kosiba from Squeek Lights is not only an integral part of that business, but also crazy helpful to me. Like, he lays things out in a way that, again, like, I'm not the most technical guy. He is. But he knows that. So he helps me in the sense that, like, he can run through you're going to do this, you're going to grab this, you're going to whatever, and my brain's like, got it. I know exactly what to do. As far as zoning stuff goes, dude, effortless. Doesn't even stress me out. Takes no time. More of my time is spent trying to, like, decide where I want to go. So, like, some nights I want to go up, and I want to be up in the air because I think it looks better. And some nights I want to split the bi-level room. Like if there's a balcony, whatever, if it's a thick enough balcony, I want to split it. Yeah. But it took a little bit of time of like how I wanted to do it and where I wanted them to sit, and what looked better and what wasn't. And there was also a couple times that it did get me where I was like, oh, we can do this on this middle thing, but then like someone would go up on the riser and be like, well, we probably can't do it there. We're gonna have to elevate it up. But it was just like, I don't know, that was the only part that I would describe as hard. The actual like zoning part of it, really easy. It was just like the ins and outs of looking the other way at a venue. Like I've been in all these venues, but I only look up at the lights. I'm like, oh, they have these many spots, great. I never look this way. I'm never like, what's out there? Like even today, I walked in, I was like, oh my God, it's so good. And then Brett, our guitar player, comes in, he's like, Dave, tough day for lasers. I'm like, why? He's like, you didn't see all the chandeliers? I'm like, oh my fucking God. All the chandeliers, dude. I didn't even look. I wasn't even paying attention. I was just looking for a balcony, didn't see one. I'm like, we're good. My favorite part is like when I go on Instagram, most nights like I can search like, you know, our hashtag or whatever venue we're at, and like it's not just what I think my favorite part is what always used to kill me on my first tours as an LD is like, man, I want some pro photos. Like I know that this is some blurry beam, but what about a pro photo? Yeah. And now it's funny because I don't even fucking care. As long as the lasers are in the shot, it can be a cell phone, and I actually don't care because it still looks cool. Like I don't normally share that many photos from just like random people's phones. Like usually it's more like we have a photographer. I use his pictures. But on this tour, I found myself doing it more often than not. It's just like finding some dude that like just put his phone up, clicked one, and I'm like, that looks sick.
Lasers
and
photographs so well.
It's on your phone, and it's still, even if it's kind of blurry or not in time, I don't even care. Like, it's still cool. Whereas, like, that's what was, I guess, notable for me, that, like, it seemed like it made more of an impact. A huge worry at the start of this was, I don't know how to make a laser look like a part of my show, because it's so obviously not. Like, not saying that it wasn't, like, obviously that's part of my programming, but, like, it wasn't the other 30 fixtures on the stage. It is different. It's very different, and I didn't necessarily want it to be. I wanted there to be moments where it doesn't even look like it's a laser. Like, it looks like it's doing what the spot fixture's doing. Like, there's a song we have called Meridian, but it's just like a vibe part where it's like one of the most still parts of the whole set, because there's not that many. But it's one of the most still parts of the set, and it really just, like, I have all my spot fixtures in like a tight dot gobo and like a flat 8-facet prism that's just like, like a flat beam, but they're all like, all of them are mirrored and like doing the same thing, so they're like combing, but then every one of the builders is on, and like a short line that's just like the X scale is just kind of going in and out, but then it's like, I don't know, 8 times however, because that's how many spots we have, 8 times however many beams that's making, on top of how many beams, the 24 beams the lasers are making. It's an insane look. Like, it's like, it just very much like fills the room and kind of like doesn't, to me, that's when I like it a lot, because it doesn't feel like a laser. It just feels like some light fixture that you're like, what? It's coming out of a box, but there's 6 beams and they're all doing something different, and some of them are different colors, but like at a gradient, not at like 2 of them are blue and 2 of them are red. Nah, dude, it's a gradient towards center changing color. It's like, what? Like, I've just had, friends that are LDs that are like, dude, like, I don't even get it, Like, what's cool about this is I'm hoping that from this, because there's other bands, there's a band from San Diego called Sean, who I've worked for before, and they're another, like, they're doing a bigger tour in the fall with Between the Buried and Me, and they're a band that, like, uses stuff like this, and, like, we haven't talked about it, probably not going to happen, but they're a band that I think of, and I'm just like, dude, this would be so good. Like, you are this, like, bright, poppy electronic band who is so emphasized on visuals, and that's what I mean about, like, this being for whoever, because I don't feel that, like, that's a metal fixture, or that's a vibe fixture, or it's country or rap or anything. I just feel like whatever you need it to do, if you need it to keep up, it's got you. Like, you know what I mean? And that's cool for me as a programmer, because a lot of times, like, I meet a fixture and I'm like, oh, you're either too expensive, too heavy, too whatever. There's something about you that I know I can't use with everybody, kind of thing. Whereas, like, there are some fixtures where I feel like it could be with anyone, and it wouldn't, like, if I sent 4 out with Chon, it would not look anything like the 4 that are out with ABR, even if it's the exact same screen I'm programming on. I think it would be a night and day difference, where you'd be like, doesn't seem like it's the same fixture, because I think they're that dynamic that you could be, I don't know, that different with it effortlessly. I want efficiency, ease, and like a crazy limitless limit. I don't have any limitations. I just want it to be able to do whatever my brain pops in when the part starts playing, and I feel like that's what it is. And that's the only reason why I get mad at my old programming, is like, now most days when I finish setting my zones, I'll just turn on 1 builder, 3 builders, put them in some positions, put them in some gobos, put them in some prisms, and just like play, because I'm like, this is, I don't know, I just feel like I have a better understanding today than I did when I started, just like that, like, level of being around them is like, you really need to adjust. Whereas, like, most fixtures, again, it's just like, I got it. Oh, it's got a prism? For sure. It's got 2 gobos? Yeah, for sure, I got it.
Yeah, we just have 450 gobos and 12 prisms, and
that was what was crazy, is me and Steve were trying to make the, like, we like to, we use the Onyx software, the Obsidian Control, and Steve likes to make these pages that are just like really easy programming pages. We've got our fixtures in one, we've got colors, we've got gobos, maybe positions, intensity stuff, beam stuff, whatever, but it's like all laid out, and on, again, normal fixtures, that's so fucking easy. That's I'm going to put my spots right here, and oh, they're red, orange, whatever, they can go up and down and whatever, and the gobos are here, and that's fine. But trying to decide what to pick out to put in the laser screen was just like, dude, I don't know. It all looks good, because you'd be like, what about this one? We got to do that. Well, we got to do this one. And then it's just like, well, dude, like, I really can't, I don't want to have to the only thing that I didn't like was the fact that it was the first time that my software, to me, felt restrictive. Because I wanted a bigger screen with more surface area for more information. But that's the thing, is the way I set up my shows and I set up my programming, like, lights don't need that much. They need some level of room and space for the stuff that they have, but like not like this, and not like to this level of like, I don't know how to, like, once I get to the 300th gobo, it's like, do I like it more than the 200th? I don't know. They're both sick. Maybe I want both of them, but it's like my screen can't, you know? He's like, dude, you got to go deeper if you want to put all that in. It's like, you really could just have like one whole page that top lasers, and then it's like color, the whole screen, position, the whole screen. Like, I could really, if you wanted to be that intricate with it, like, you absolutely could. And that's, again, crazy because I couldn't do that with something else. Well, in Montreal, I had a full-on, like, breakdown.
Oh no, what happened?
Everything was totally fine, and then out of nowhere I came back to the desk for the second band, because I do direct support band as well, and nothing's communicating. Like, nothing on through the house Ethernet snake, and I'm like, dude, you motherfucker, you should have ran my snake. And then mid-show they'd run my snake, nothing. What? And then I start turning off, like, I'm like turning off my E-node, I'm turning it back on, I'm turning power off, turning it back off. It's like praying, turning my desk off. Nothing. And then finally, like, I did this, like, it's like a console, like, tester restart thing, and I finally did it and got everything back. But I was so nervous. But actually, like, a big part of, like, how it was helpful is I called Steve on the phone, and I was like, this is what's going on. He's like, go to the back of the laser, tell me what it says about the SACN. And I was like, something I've never had before. A step I've never had of, like I know that things should be communicating, but this is now my first visual representation of, like, no, it is not. Like, this is not actually happening. Something else is wrong. It's on a different end, kind of thing. It was just really helpful to me. That, like, there's never been a fixture that's been like, it didn't say, hey, Dave, this is what's wrong. But whatever I said to Steve said enough to him that he's like, oh, this is what's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it was helpful, like, very helpful. That's the only time I don't like lighting, when there's no explanation. But I feel like with lasers, they give me, like, incredibly informative data if I need it, like, about not only them but my whole system, like what's talking and what isn't. On a tour with 60 different, you know, lights and like 7 or 8 different classifications of like what fixtures even are, that's the one that I'm like, she's fine. That one's fine. Like, and I could be obviously wrong at times, but overall, that, like, on at least as a guy who's had them out since June 13th. And here we are, you know, the first week of August, I've had no issue. The only thing that broke, a screw fell out. I couldn't find it. That's the one, like, element that I was like, oh, that seems to be its weak point, if you can call it that. It's not.
So just talking about the fact that, you know, the lasers are part of the rest of your lighting rig and all that, and that's been, like, abundantly clear through this whole discussion, right, and everything we've done together. It just reminded me that literally 2 days ago, there was a post in the Facebook laser group with a laser person saying, so do you guys, like, coordinate the colors of your lasers with the lighting designer and the rest of the lighting? Or, and then there's like 15, 20 posts after that of, yeah, we kind of shout colors to each other every now and then. And I'm just thinking, like, this is why all the photos from this show look so fucking phenomenal, is because the colors are
seamless
to each
also,
other. Like,
seamless. And another thing I was going to say, one of the colors we didn't touch on, like, they're like, these fixtures have expanded my color palette because I do a lot of shows a year. Like, this program shows this year to date, I've done 11 this year. So, like, I do them a lot, and sometimes my color schemes get redundant. Like, you can only do red and blue and, you know, whatever, so many fucking times where you, like, kind of lose your mind a little bit. But that's why, like, I was so interested in trying to, like, push the colors on this one a little bit. But that's why, I don't know, because of the lasers, like, I'm using colors like teal. And, like, that's not to say anything, I guess, that color, like, in wash fixtures or color fixture, because it looks good. But, the teal with, like, you know, a red, like, both coming out of the same builder in, like, some kind of effect, to me looks insane. And then it, like, makes me program a little bit differently, makes me think a little bit differently, like, makes colors change a little bit for me, because I feel like I have more access to stuff. Like, Steve helps me make a pretty large color palette of, like, maybe 30 colors, but a lot of them are so close to each other that, like, you don't necessarily need 30. But, like, with the lasers, it feels like it is specifically this color. It's not mint, it's teal. And like those two are starkly different somehow.
Here's
like,
your rust orange, your burnt orange,
yes,
light orange.
yes. Like I want the gamut, and it has it. And it's just like, that's great, you know?
The last thing I want to say is there anything in particular you want to like have out there?
Truly, you gotta press on the dynamic aspect. There is not another fixture, at least that I am aware of, that can be controlled on seemingly any desk. Because I mean, our desk is kind of proof that like we didn't, but we do, and it works. So any desk with this level of like with its level of reach, like it can do so many things that like that level of like how dynamic it is. Trying to find a way to capture that to people is, I think, that's why I love when this girl Sarah came to shoot her photos in LA, is that like all of her photos are kind of in succession from like the first song to the last song, and I can see the different like meat and potato looks of like that is really like she captured like what that song looks like, you know what I mean? But they're all so different, like not any two of them really look like the same thing, and I don't know, I just love that like that that level of range is present, because like again, most times I'm programming and I'm on like the 12th song of 15 songs, and I'm like, dude, I've done it. These past 12 songs, I've done all this, I've done all the colors and all whatever, and I feel kind of whatever. But then like at the last song of programming on this, it was just like kind of like, I don't necessarily want to program another song, but I do want to keep playing with the lasers. You know what I mean? Like I would, but I just like I wanted to just like kind of still see like what I could do with them, because like some of my favorite looks were toward the end of my programming, not at the beginning, you know? Not that they were bad, just like that I kept it pretty simple before I really understood like how to use them. And that's why I think like showing the range and trying to show like the different qualities that it has is awesome. Because like one of the things I do that like seemingly blows like a few LDs' minds here and there is like, I'll fuck with 3 builders, but I'll put them at 3 different like locations. Like I'll drop the 2 of them, like I'll drop one set of builders so it's like a grid over you, one so it's all the way out, one so it's like kind of like up, and then do something different with each set of builders. And they're just like seeing the space filled like that with the fixture that's not moving is like, again, something that at first I didn't really get. I didn't really get that, and I don't really know how you like easily articulate that to somebody, but you know, I guess that's the goal. It's like you've really gotta plug them in to your desk and just lose yourself for a minute, because that's the only way. Like there's no real like this is steps A through B. It's like turn them on, play, get kind of lost in it.
Have you ever had any exposure or heard of anything about the most commonly used laser control software out there?
No, never. Never. I never. Also, because I mean, I don't have a huge lighting background prior to 5 years ago when like I started this, and then I'm not like when I go home, I'm home, and if I leave, it's to go program for a band and come back home. It's not like going to a club or going to whatever. So like, I guess I don't have a crazy level of exposure, but I've also now been in this industry for at least 5 years, and I hear about other people who use lasers and the companies they rent them from and the technicians they send out to monitor them, and it's just like none of it sounded like fun. I was like, you're telling me there's a guy that comes out, sets them up, and you don't get to play with them? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. That sounds wrong as hell, dude. Like, what, he's playing with your stuff? I was like, nah, dude, it's his stuff. I don't even get to look at it, kind of thing. I'm like, okay, well, that's incorrect to me. Like, I wanted to, you know.
It's been incredible. Well, I'm out of batteries and film, but
hell yeah, dude.